I'm so excited to be hosting another year of fire tenders, a Yuletide retreat, and this is something that is probably the thing I look most forward to in my coaching practice. It's cultivating a spiritual space, particularly for women who have left organized religion, who have left typically Christian traditions or belief systems and practices and are looking for something that's really authentic to their own sense of spirituality during this sort of season of light. A lot of different celebrations and different religions and traditions come together during this time to really honor the coming of winter and this process of adjusting to, especially in the northern hemisphere, more darkness and less light, but honoring still that presence of light that we carry within. And that's what this Fire Tenders retreat is all about. It really does question some of the practices that have been built up, especially around the Christmas tradition and the Christian religion that involves a lot of what I would call problematic servant leadership. So that's been laid heavily on women during this season. And it's something that I feel really strongly about in terms of creating a space for women to develop their own spirituality and address their own needs in a season that often compels us to be all these things for people, and kind of curating the season of meaning. And so I offer this also out of my own personal need. When I left ordained ministry as a pastor, I had been basically sort of putting on Christmas for congregations for 10 years. It was work that I really enjoyed. I've always really loved the Advent season, what's understood as sort of that season of waiting in the Christian tradition. But when I left the ministry, I really saw how much this message of female servanthood is built into that in ways that really didn't resonate with how I understood my own spiritual needs for that season. So Fire Tenders is an opportunity for people who are established coaching clients that I have, as well as new people who are interested in the work that I do in helping women rewrite harmful narratives and placing boundaries in our life that help us promote our own needs in a healthy way. You may have a friend that's really looking for some kind of a grounded spiritual ritual but hasn't found one yet. And maybe you offer this to her. But it's a real opportunity for women to carve out space and time in their own lives during a season that oftentimes spreads us too thin with really unhealthy expectations of how it means to sort of serve others. So the core of the program are 3 coaching sessions. These are all individualized. So it'll really be a combination of my supporting each person in their journey, as well as bringing in some expansive spirituality and thoughtfulness around that. So those 3 sessions are one-on-one on Zoom, and then there's a solstice gathering that I'll host with all of the participants together during the evening of the winter solstice. And so that's something that is an offering that I am looking forward to giving because it's something that I need in my own life. The first Christmas or Advent that I was out of the ministry was a really difficult one for me. I felt that I did not have a landing place to cultivate spiritual tradition and ritual that was meaningful for me, having left a harmful and toxic sort of religious context. And I think that's the case for a lot of people who have maybe left organized religion, specifically other former clergy like myself who have said this is no longer serving me and is in fact harming me. Coming into the season of Advent or Christmas or just that Yuletide season can be in some ways very triggering and bring up a lot of that grief. So I needed this space for myself during those first couple of years. I really turned to the cyclical nature of the winter solstice as a guiding sort of force within that to help ground me in sort of the realities of the shifting seasons. I also really drew upon a childhood love of mine for the story of Santa Lucia. And that's something that I'll bring as a possible offering for people for whom it might be meaningful. But Santa Lucia is a pre-Christian understanding that eventually kind of became co-opted by the church, but it's a Nordic tradition. It's actually a pre-Christian tradition of this sort of feminine sacred bringing in the light of the season of Yule. And then again, it became kind of layered in within some Christian theology, but at its core, it's a really beautiful, non-religious, non-Christian expression of bringing in the light and maintaining the light and tending to the light within our lives, within our own selves. So that'll be sort of a fun offering that I'll enable people to kind of grow into and maybe develop some of their own sort of mythology and theologies around Santa Lucia, as well as the winter solstice. So I look forward to journeying with any of you who are interested in this. And if you'd like to learn further about it, there's some more details in the description to this video. So I look forward to journeying with you during November and December as the days shorten and the evenings lengthen, and we tend to that really eternal flame that each of us has.